There isn't, I don't think, a startup that's being pitched these days that doesn't say, we're the AI for, and, it could be as absurd as, we're the AI for reinventing ice cream. What do you make of the current AI tsunami?
Occasionally, you get something even bigger than an inflection. I call it a sea change. And when you and I were young, the first sea change in our lifetime was probably, I call it the era of mass computation. You wanted a computer on every desk at every home, hopefully running Microsoft software if you were Bill Gates. And rather than a computer on every desk in every home, you're trying to connect all the nodes in the world, and you're trying to create network effects between them. And the rules shifted. And a lot of people don't realize this, but at the time, Microsoft didn't really know how to react to that shift. They didn't know what to do about Google. They didn't know what to do about LinkedIn or any of these companies. And so the new wave of the sea change of mass connectivity created counter positioning for the startups. And so now I think that we're heading into the era of mass cognition. I think that's the sea change. I have to believe a startup will have an advantage in that world because the next wave or the next sea change is always counter positioned in some way to the prior one. And it's the counter positioning that if people think about insights from technology, but it also matters for the business model. And it's that counter positioning that affords the opening, right, for these new companies to come in and disrupt everything and change the rules. But the first thing I've noticed is the AI startups that pitch me much more often have inflections than insights. And so I get pitched by startups all the time where I'm like, I can totally see why people will want this. I can totally see why it's empowering. I would want to use it myself. But I don't understand why there's not going to be 10 just like it. Forget incumbents for a second. I don't even understand why there won't be 10 startups. And I don't understand why Sam Altman's not going to have a demo in 90 days that puts you out of business. And so startups are going to have a huge opportunity here. And I think a lot of people are saying that this is one of those waves where the incumbents have the upper hand. And this is what I think people are missing. I remember when the internet first started to become a thing, there were literally articles like in Upside magazine, which I don't think even exists anymore, but they'd say the internet doesn't have a business model. And I remember people really thought that. People were saying, oh, the internet, you're just getting eyeballs. There's no business model. And now the idea that the internet wasn't a massive change wave that had extraordinary value creation profits for startups and incumbents alike is just silly. And so I think that's true of AI. And I think we're kind of in this 5-year window where it's not completely obvious where to play, just like it wasn't completely obvious in the first 5 years of the internet. But all my instincts tell me that it's going to be massive for startups. How could it not be?
Yeah, my instincts are the same. I also, we share the non-consensus view about, because, people say, well, it's all about the size of the model you're training. So it'll be OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, and that's it. Yeah. And you're like, well, no, actually, in fact, there's going to be a lot more than just the size of the model you're training.
Yes.
There's distribution, there's, taking risks, there's, new patterns of development, there's all kinds of things which you're looking for inflection points.